The following is an exclusive presentation of TPC Communications. Among the missing in 1981 were the likes of Hugh Green, Ricky Jackson, and Mark May. But today, the Panthers continue their winning tradition against Illinois in the home opener at Pitt Stadium. Ever since the last game of the 1980 season, the talk about Pitt football has been, look who's gone. But after this first game of 1981, the talk should be, hey, look who's here, especially when it comes to defense. And you know, you don't have to look any further than the score to see how well this Pitt defense played. They held Illinois to under 2 yards per carry on the ground, and this was done by a young, aggressive Pitt defense that had 9 big pairs of shoes to fill. Dan Marino showed with a strong second half that he's ready to play, even if he has to play without his #1 receiver, Dwight Collins, who went out with an injury in the second quarter. Barry Compton came off the bench and picked up the slack and showed that there is some depth on this Pitt team. And the tailback question, well, that was answered by Joe McCall. But the big story this week was the defense. We'll have all the action and the story of Panther Pride, which is brought to you by Westinghouse and the 140,000 Westinghouse employees worldwide. By Miller High Life, if you got the time, we've got the beer. And by Gulf Oil, who suggests you try Gulf Super Unleaded, the gas with guts. It helps eliminate knocks and pings. A crowd of 46,000 is there at Pitt Stadium to see some new faces and get some answers to a lot of questions as Jackie Sherrill looks on at another opening of a new season. Illinois took the opening kickoff, and it began to look like the Darrell Smith show. Smith's number was called 4 times in the first 5 plays, but the 4th time was 1 time too many. Tom Flynn, one of 2 returning starters from the 1980 defense, had picked up where he left off last season. There are always a lot of unanswered questions going into a season opener. One of Jackie Sherrill's biggest questions was, could he count on Joe McCall as his tailback? Well, he can if Joe keeps running like this. Jackie's biggest question mark, though, was actually 9 question marks. Could 9 people from last year's #1 ranked defense be replaced? Some guys named Pizzoli, Wenglakowski, Moss, Woods, and Cranack did a pretty fair job of answering that question early. These guys were obviously out there to settle that issue early.
I was a little nervous at first, but our defense came together after that first series, I think. And I think we came together, put all the pieces together, and we did a good job.
One question that doesn't need to be asked too often is, where is Tom Flynn? It's simple. Find the ball, and you'll probably find Tom Flynn.
I was just trailing the play, and there was about a half-dozen sets of hands that touched it before I did. Finally, the ball was right between my legs, and I jumped on it.
Forcing a turnover is one thing, taking advantage of it is another. Pitt did just that. First, it's Dwight Collins, Danny Marino's favorite receiver. And then it's time to take a bumpy ride on the train with Wayne DeBartola, and 6 for Pitt.
Yeah, I was real happy about that. It was a sweep play and ran out there, and all the linemen had made their blocks, and there was just one guy to beat, and luckily I beat him and got into the end zone, so I was real happy about that.
And even the extra point is reason for a major celebration. If you happen to be a freshman named Snuffy Everett, then you just made your first one. Coming into the season, there was no question about what Pitt's biggest weapon would be. Just like last year, Marino to Collins. Illinois quarterback Tony Eason stayed with the flood and flare offense, and the Pitt defense began to bend. But the Pitt defense was not about to break. So you need to get out of a hole, you open a hole with Borries, Sams, and Freilich, and let Joe McCall fill it. Now it's time to pull out the bomb, and Marino and Collins would have pulled it off if Dwight hadn't pulled a hamstring.
Well, Dwight's been having problems with the hamstring all along, and certainly when he went down, you know, we felt like he'd having problems with his right hamstring, but he came up today and said he had problems. He has a slight pull, and it's not anything that's going to keep him out. He'll be back ready to practice next week. If we would have played him, he had a chance to pull it, you know, really badly, so we didn't put him back in there.
A great catch right here by Mike Martin, and the Pitt defense is bending again. 2 passes and 45 quick yards for Illinois. But the defense comes up with a big play again. This time it's Phil Pizzulli and Bill Moss. And Jackie Sherrill just keeps on coming up with the big players, and he'll be bringing them in for at least 5 more years.
I signed the 5-year contract, which is a renewable contract each year. Was very happy. I think it's something that gave me confidence. I think it's something that the university had confidence in me. I think it's something that I gave the university some confidence in myself to them. One, I think it brings stability to the University of Pittsburgh's football program. I think the problem of programs today is the stability, which means that if you have a program with the same coach for many years, and you look around the country and you see the programs that the coaches have been there, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and it means that those programs usually are very stable, which means that those programs are winning programs. The rewards of being at the University of Pittsburgh are enormous, and I found out very quickly how important the family atmosphere in the city of Pittsburgh was and is. And, you know, I came from a large family. I understand I came from a farm. I understand what the family atmosphere is and what it means, and it really impressed me. But the program in Pittsburgh, as long as the administration is set as it is, the community is set as it is, then our program will be in an upswing. As far as myself, you know, I'm very happy here. I'm very fortunate to be a head coach at the University of Pittsburgh, and I'm happy to be here. There's a lot of great things. The people, the community is very good to me, and I think it gives me a lot of tools for me as a person to do the things that I would like to do and that I want to do. You know, it gives me the time to help the little kids. It gives me the time to be in front of other people and help them. And it gives me a lot of things that is important in my life that I would not maybe be able to do or to get from other communities, and it's very important to me.
32 seconds left in the first half, and the Pitt defense finally cracks, but only for 3 points worth on a 46-yarder by Mike Bass. 24 seconds later, a bad snap. A big loss. The clock says no time. The referee says 1 second. Mike White says field goal. And the scoreboard says 14-6 Pitt at the half. We'll be back with more Panther Pride right after this. An 8-point lead for Jackie Sherrill and Pitt going into the third quarter. They receive, and it's time for a little razzle-dazzle. with Tommy Flynn. But it's Pitt's turn to turn it over, and Wayne DiBartolo fumbles. And this is what you do to make up for that. And then you do it again and get the ball back. Now the offense starts to roll with a pitch. A pass. Barry Compton, playing for Dwight Collins, the guy who replaced him last year, ends up with 5 catches. And this is a big day for Joe McCall, who would like to return to his form of early last year.
I feel like I have something to prove because this year, I want to do a whole lot better than I did last year. I want to get more yards and I want to help out the team. That's the most important, help the team first and then me, my personal goals.
Let's not leave out the tight end. John Brown has some personal goals of his own. And as long as Julius Dawkins is standing out there all by himself, give him something to do, and before you know it, you've got 6 more.
Danny threw the ball kind of soft, he didn't fire it, and I was concentrating on the real well because I knew if I'd have missed that, I might as well have left the stadium,
If it's over, nobody has told Illinois and Calvin Thomas. They know a score on this possession, and they're right back in it. But this possession ends on 3rd and 1 at the 43 when Pizzoli does it again. Sal Sinceri helped force the runner outside, but then Sal Sinceri knows all about teamwork. One of the leaders of this year's Pitt team is senior linebacker Sal Sinceri. The roots for his leadership on the field stem from his strong family ties off the field.
As you can see, we're pretty close here. I have my older brother, my other brother Gussie, my sister Linda, my sister Mary Jo, and of course you can see you over there, who's adopted into the family last year and was pretty close with us. And then you see my mother, my father, and all these people have been so, exceptional to me and exceptional to Pitt, ball players. They treat everybody like a son, and that's why my family's so important to me. My family's always taught me to speak and say what I feel, but always carry respect to who you talk to. Having the opportunity to talk for the University of Pittsburgh is a great honor. I take a lot of pride and a lot of glory when I go out and talk about Pitt football. And when I get a chance to go out and be with people, I just look at it as I'm going out with my mother and my father, and I respect that.
Sal makes frequent visits to Pennsylvania Macaroni in the Strip District of Pittsburgh, operated by his father, Anthony. Many of the Sinceri family, including Sal's uncles, brothers, and cousins, work there. The store was established in the late 1800s by Sal's grandfather and specializes in imported products such as cheeses, sausage, and olives, as well as a variety of domestic products, and caters to local restaurants and sidewalk trade.
Well, the Greenfield community has been very nice to me for the past, I'd say, 6 or 7 years. They have done a lot for me. And there's been a lot of great people down here. John Sicoli, Jimmy Gregg, the Diolos brothers. They've given me opportunities growing up to become an athlete. And if I look back in the past 4 years of coaching, I want to give those kids everything they gave me. And the only way that I'll be able to do it is get down here and work with the kids and make sure that they're staying off the streets, staying off the corners, and just becoming great athletes. My coaching started when I was about 12 or 13 years of age. I had an opportunity to coach a minor league team, working with kids 7, 8, and 9. And that year we went 18-0, and they were pretty pleased with me. And I just stayed with these kids, and now they're 15 and 16, and we've been pretty successful.
It seems that there has always been a Pelusi in Pitt football, and J.C. made sure that Illinois knew there was one this season.
It's just he's dropping back pass, the snap, quarterback dropped, it fell right between the center's leg, and lucky enough, I was there.
The turnover means more work for Marino and Dawkins, and moves Danny a little closer to second place on the Pitt all-time passing list. Even the ones that are nullified by penalties look good. Even if they don't look too good to Jackie Sherrill. A pass to Joe McCall. Gives Snuffy Everett a chance to try the first field goal of his career and make it. Dan Marino's passing can only be helped if defenses learn that he can still run out of the pocket when he has to. Jackie Sherrill learned a lot of things in this opening game. If he didn't know it before the game, Jackie knows now that he's got a good receiver backing up his best receiver, Dwight Collins. And the good receiver's name is Barry Compton.
Dwight's a great ball player, and I know that he's a starter, and my job is to back him up and to come in when he, like if he got injured today, I came in, I tried to do the best I could, and that's all I can really do is just do the best I can.
Compton's best was better than any Pitt receiver. 5 catches, 86 yards, and he was on the bench until the middle of the second quarter. And obviously, Compton can not only catch, he can take a hit. There was only one way left for Pitt to score, and Bill Moss took care of that.
It was at the end of the game. They put a new tackle in, and you could tell it was going to be a pass. It was down by the end zone, so I took one step outside and came back inside, and the quarterback was right there.
And it's 2 points for Moss, 26 points for Pitt, 6 for Illinois, and another successful home opener for Jackie Sherrill, and we'll be back right after this. Season starts on a positive note for Pitt. A win in the opener before 46,000 at Pitt Stadium. A lot of tough questions were answered, and Jackie Sherrill is happy.
I was very pleased with the way the secondary reacted and linebackers and the defensive ends. Michael Woods made a lot of plays, and certainly he's a very good football player. And Alan Winger-Kowski, before he got hurt, made quite a few plays, and I hope that Alan will be back in a hurry.
When the coach is that happy, you can usually be pretty assured that the players are going to be happy too.
I'll tell you what, it's an honor to play with these guys. They're so young, and they came out in a lot of formations, and I'll tell you what, they adjusted to it. They really played some good football out there today.
Well, I think we did really good, Fazul and JC, they've been behind like 2 great players, and they've learned a lot. I was behind Bill Neal last year, and they taught us a lot, and it's hard to play, get experience when you have great players like that. But it was our turn this year, and we just started off real good, I think.
I think the defense did a super job, and I hope game by game we could just keep getting better and play with the intensity we can. That's the only way we could keep doing with intensity.
Well, I feel, Barry Compton did a great job. He filled in for me. He came in and caught the ball well, and I didn't really get to see the latter part of the offense, but I heard it on the radio, and it sounded like they, got into the groove after I got out of there.
Oh, the offense did a great job today. We know that Dwight got hurt, but, we showed that we have a lot of people that's behind Dwight that can do the job, too. Barry Compton, as you saw out there today, he did a pretty good job today. But as a whole, the offense did pretty good today, running, passing.
Jackie Sherrill has a week off, and he has 2 weeks to prepare now for Cincinnati coming up on September 19th. Even though Cincinnati lost their opener, Jackie Sherrill knows never to take a team too lightly. Don't forget, 2 weeks from now, September 19th, you'll see all the stories and all the action right here on Panther Pride. Panther Pride has been brought to you by Westinghouse and the 140,000 Westinghouse employees worldwide. By Light Beer, everything you always wanted in a beer and less. And by Gulf Oil, who suggests you try Gulf Super Unleaded, the gas with guts. It helps eliminate NOx and tings. The executive producer of Panther Pride is Richard L. Klauser. This show was produced and directed by Doug Kennedy. Creative consultant, Guido D'Elia. Associate producer, Bill Dickhout. Production and technical facilities by TPC Communications, Pittsburgh. This has been a TPC production.